And we're back with a little bit of oxygen not included, and this giant cloud of steam that maybe I was not quite prepared for the size of this. It's rather large, it's rather hot, and it's slowly condensing, but it's taking too long. That's why I'm about to get into this petroleum boiler. But I was thinking, there's a bunch of water up here I could just sort of let drop down into it, and that should provide some cooling. Worst case scenario, I end up with some salt water that gets turned into steam, and there'll be some salt left behind. And what color are their eyes? If their eyes are red, don't go in. That's a bad sign. That means there's an egg in there. There doesn't seem to be an egg, so yeah, we're golden. We'll let all that water just fall out of there. It'll end up down the bottom. And wait, where did that come from? Why is there oil there? Ah, oh yeah. I have been putting a box together in preparation for making a petroleum boiler in here. I'm just going to vacuum out the whole area. I think it would be faster if I did it that way. Well, that's the theory. Whether it works, we'll see. Did I get all the oil? I think that was all the oil that spilled out of there. That's not too bad, actually. Ah, that steam cloud is kind of glorious. Oh, you stop mopping now. You've got the oil. Oil's good. Now, all I'm going to do up here is finish in this box. Once it's all boxed in, I'll put in some gas pumps. I got a couple of coal generators over here. I'll hook that up, and at that point we'll have the whole area vacuumed out. Once it's all vacuumed out, I can get on with putting together a petroleum boiler in here. I'm going to put in a couple of liquid locks as well. Maybe I should put together an oil well so we can get some oil. You know what? That might be an idea. And there we go. A quick oil well setup. All I want is enough crude oil to pump into my liquid lock so I can make some liquid locks here and keep this whole box area in here a vacuum. I'm going to want a liquid lock down here and a liquid lock over here. I want both sides just so I can get in from each direction. I'm not going to keep this running for very long. I only need enough for the liquid locks. As for the steam down here, how's it doing? Yeah, still slowly spreading out and condensing. It's dumping all its heat into the area. I mean, it's a good idea I decided to play a hot base this because I don't really have a choice right now, do I? That's a lot of steam. That's one of the reasons I stopped going down was I'm going to be dumping that steam into everywhere I go, which will condense into water, and it would just contaminate whole biomes that I go into. So I'd rather wait until this was all taken care of. That salt water is doing quite well for itself. It survived. Maybe I should have let it spread out the chill more. Anyway, this is going to have to get dumped in here, but first I need to put in some liquid locks. Now, I do learn occasionally from my previous mistakes, though I'll probably forget all the learning I did shortly afterwards, but I'm using automated liquid locks here just to make sure everything gets filled up and doesn't overflow. I don't want another oil spill. All the crude oil from here dumps down here. This liquid pump is picking it up. Dumps it up here. We've already filled the first liquid lock. Second one down here, that'll get filled up. While that's filling up, I'm going to start putting in the infrastructure for getting all the gases out of here. We're going to have, what, how much power to work with? So 2 kilowatts. 2 kilowatts means I can put in 8 gas pumps. I think I'm just going to go ham on these and clear this area out as quickly as possible. Ooh, and a quick review of how you do these liquid locks, just in case I forgot to mention them last time. Liquid comes down. It's this liquid shutoff. We have a little automation sensor here hooked up to it. If the pressure is below 250 kilos, it keeps this vent on, or keeps the shutoff on. That way it just keeps pouring in crude oil until the crude oil is at a level of 250 kilos in here. Then I delete the liquid vent and replace it with a tile, and we have a nice sealed liquid lock that's quite solid. Ooh, there's a different type of liquid lock I want to try out down here as well. It was suggested in the comments, a drop liquid lock with a vacuum in the middle, but I don't really have time to get around to it now. I'm trying to get this episode condensed and out as quickly as possible. Still struggling to keep things efficiently running at 5 a week. But once I get these gas pumps up and running, we get this area vacuumed out, we can move on to making a magma tank. I don't know. Ooh, is that erupting now? Ooh, I want to sort of tap into this and make a magma tank, a nice large magma tank for it, so I can start stockpiling magma for when I turn this on. You'd really like to let this sit here for about 50, maybe 100 cycles collecting magma before you switch it on. So that's what I want to get around to as quickly as possible. And there we go. Now this bottom layer will probably vacuum out first. This will probably get vacuumed out and there'll be little bits of gas left over here, but I can move these gas pumps around as time goes by. And why am I running out of power? No, that should be fine. That should be fine. I could put in a bunch of smaller gas pumps to do it, but it's just not worth the effort. These will get this done quick enough that I'm not going to complain. As a little side project down here to try and speed up the steam reclamation, I've put in some temperature shift plates. That's a whole row of igneous rock ones there. I tried some diamond, but I ran out after 4. Turns out I don't have that much diamond left. That's driving up the temperature of the water down here, but it's ripping the steam out of there. There used to be over 15 kilos of steam down here, but it all seems to be migrating down here. and getting condensed into, well, something usable. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll all flash to steam at some point, which would also be hilarious. Either way, I can live with it. Uh, Over here, I was playing around with this glass forge. There was a suggestion in the comments. Earl Loves Gaming pointed out that the glass forge has a bug where the glass inside the forge will transfer heat with a tile beneath it. I think it was this one here, or maybe this one. So if I replace it with an insulated tile, it might make a difference. I've tried that, however, it's still giving me the odd cracked pipe. I think it's because the whole machine is just surrounded in so much steam, it really wants to make a difference. If we slow it down here, you'll notice the glass when it first appears, there's 25 kilos of it, and it's at 1725 degrees. Then it very quickly drops to 16, 15, 14, 13. If it goes below about 1,000, I get a cracked pipe immediately. It just solidifies the moment it tries to exit. I don't think it's anything to do with this underneath anymore. It's just to do with the quantity of steam it's surrounded by. It's not really helping. I've still had it cracked even with the insulated pipes below there. But if you're not using them there, if you're not using a glass forge surrounded by a giant steam room, which is pretty normal, then you shouldn't have to worry about it. Yep, there goes a piece of glass right there, even with all the insulated tiles beneath it. So it will crack it either way. Seems glass forges in steam rooms don't work so good. And the suggestion came in from Rambled. Sorry, I'm horribly mangling the pronunciation of that name, but it's got a 4 in it, so it's really hard. Rambled Fordled. They suggested I use an auto dispenser down here, set it to sweep only, and give it a high priority for obsidian. That way I could just keep sweeping everything and dumping it in here. That seems like a really sane and reasonable thing to do. And I really should have thought of that sooner, I think. So dumb. We'll set that at level 7. So any obsidian I now do sweep commands for will end up in here. The obsidian's cooled down quite a bit. It's down to about 500 degrees. It's still generating a bit of power. But I think the main benefit of this is I don't have really hot obsidian lying around the map. That's one thing you're going to have to deal with on these maps is disposing of this really, really hot obsidian you're going to find around the place. Having a hot room you can just dump it in, that seems like a very, very handy place to put it. This way I don't have big piles of it stocked up into corners somewhere. Now, how's our vacuuming going over here? Okay, this is going to take a little bit longer, but once it's done, we can get around to putting in the first layer. Well, I want to put in the magma tank. The actual building of the rest of the petroleum boiler can wait until we have enough magma to run it. Until we've got enough magma to run it, there's no point building the whole thing. Also, I've got a whole bunch more copper and stuff I should really be sweeping out here now that I've got the time. As another little side project, all the water down here, the hot salt water I was using as coolant, I dumped that through a couple of desalinators and pumped it all into my base. Now, yes, that was hot water I was pumping in, so it's risen the temperature in my water tank now up to about 40 degrees. It was a bit hotter, but some of the heat has managed to bleed into the surrounding environment. Thankfully, we don't care. This is a hot base, and we're living off barbecue, so whatever. Heat can suck it, basically, is what I'm saying. I am liking this ability not to care about dumping heat into my base. Though, bizarrely enough, areas of the base are still quite cool. These are all 27 degrees in here. I think the only place that's heated up is the bathrooms. They're at about 31, 32. That's probably that unholy water recycling that's going on. I dread to think what level the germs are at in the water piping in this. Just, it's got to be horrendous. I don't know what the dupes are bathing in at this point. Anyway, I'll skip it forward a bit here while I finish up this vacuum section. In my attempt to play whack-a-mole, I've been moving the gas pumps around just to try and get a vacuum going on. You can see it's actually vacuumed up here. So what I think I'm going to do is just leave that gas pump there. That should prevent any gases from sneaking by, and then replace the gas pumps down here. I just keep moving them around until eventually there's vacuum everywhere. I could leave them where they are, but that will take a little bit longer, and I'd rather not. We'll just stick those back in there. And in short order, we should have a nice giant vacuum. And how did you get... You know what? I can't leave that in there. If I leave that in there at some point, it will turn into meat, which will rot or something like that, and then that will release gas. That's got to be... yeah, that can go off and get turned into barbecue. Barbecue at the moment is starting to go up. 58,000 calories of barbecue and rising. Omelets should be going down. We're no longer producing those. But we may be producing so much barbecue that my dupes, that's all they'll probably eat in the end. I might want to limit barbecue until I've gotten through that backlog of omelets. You know what, I think I will do that right now. Consumables. Let's take everyone off the barbecue and see how they handle it for a while. Yeah, no barbecue for anyone, just briefly. Then I think the omelets will go down and the barbecue should start to rise a lot more rapidly. And there we go. A fully vacuumed out room. That is a giant vacuum room. Normally I don't make rooms this large for vacuums, but it's not that hard to do it if you just put in a liquid lock and you're reasonably patient. I'm not sure how many cycles that took. I'd have to go back and check the footage. Footage tells me I started this about 10 cycles ago and I put in the gas pumps about 4 or 5 cycles ago. I think that's pretty good going. So now all I got to do is remove all the junk I've built in here, and I got to get rid of all that lead wire. Lead is not going to work very well around magma for some strange reason. Something to do with melting. And what we'll do is we're going to come in here from the top. You know what? I'll just skip it forward until we're ready to do that. Now we've got a nice clean area to work with, all full of vacuum. Going to come in from the top here, and I want to enlarge this magma tank. Now when you're dealing with magma, be incredibly careful. I cannot stress that enough. Magma is the worst to deal with. If you let any gases in here and those gases touch anything, yeah, those gases will flash to extremely high temperatures and that will scald your dupes, even through their exosuits. A tiny bit of gas you can live with, as in a tiny little gas leak that can live with, micrograms or maybe a few grams. You can live with that. The temperature transfer is tiny. But any decent sized leak, yeah, you're in so much trouble. So much trouble. Now, I think I'll use obsidian for this, and I want to build myself a nice big tank for the magma to sit in while I'm in between cycles. Yeah, that will work, probably. You know what? Let's leave those top sections there. Those can be our walkways. No, you can say it too. And that's how we're going to get in here. Then I'm going to come in from the side here and dig out the rest. My dupes don't have to worry about getting scalded just now because standing on top of things, they have very little thermal transfer. So they're standing on top of what? 1500 Celsius obsidian, which is touching magma. And they're like, no, no, we're good. We got this. But if they were in gases containing that or liquids, yeah, they would not like that. Oh, yeah, I should probably continue that on so my dupes can get down that ladder segment. Plan will be to come down here, dig it at an angle, and then I want to sort of delete this all the way back up so this all flows into this area. Then we'll do something similar the other side. Anyway, I'll skip this forward a bit. Now that I've got this hole almost completed, what I want to do is move all this really hot obsidian and abyssalite out of here. I've also set my little drop off down here to handle abyssalite as well. I don't want any of that getting into my base. Ooh, are they evaporating that? No, that's still... Yeah, the temperature in there, you can see it's spiking up every time they walk through. The only reason it's not breaking is I have that temperature shift plate dumping the temperature into the surrounding atmosphere. Yeah, I'm going to have to do something about that. It's already... Is it evaporated the other side? No, it's fine. Okay, I'll worry about that later. First, I'm going to worry about getting this volcano done. Okay, that's almost finished. Once we get the last of that out, I'm going to delete the bottom ladder segment. I don't want my duplicants ever coming down here. Well, actually, we'll cancel that deconstruct. I have to dig out that segment there. This is where it's going to get interesting. My dupe's going to want to dig that out and then really quickly get out of dodge. As quickly as possible. Let's see how this duplicant handles it. Okay, Diggo. Time for you to move rapidly. Don't hang around. Yes, that's a good dupe. And then we're going to get you to shoot you at that segment. Then you're going to do that one. Then you can do that one. This is working out disturbingly well. Okay. Just 2 more pieces in it. Ooh, I don't think you can get that last one, can you? You know what? We'll give you a ladder segment to work with. Yeah, we'll put one there. What? No! Why would you do that? Why would... Oh, that's... My bad. What? Okay, you know what? I don't care. You got scalded. You're... Muppets. Absolute... I do want to hate the duplicants for what they've just done, but at the same point, I was the one who gave the orders, and they just found a way to make them happen in the most scalding way possible. Good thing I kept some medical beds around. More diggity can go back and get healed up. Dear Lord. It's... never mind. Just one of those days. Now, time to come in here and inset this in. I have a rough idea. This is going to be my dripper down here. Oh, what? Why? What particular reason is there to go in there right now? Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. I get it. You know what? We'll just cancel those. Yep, still my fault, I know, but I'm going to blame the dupes. Well, anyway, I've sent Haley back to a bed to get healed up, though I think they're not very badly damaged. It's 1 piece of health. It'll take them a minute and 5 seconds in the bed. They'll be healed. I probably shouldn't even do it, but I like to be thorough. One other thing I should cover, though, is, these drop-offs, the automatic dispensers, they're not perfect. I've set this to take all the all the abyssalite and all the obsidian. However, if one duplicant is already bringing obsidian or abyssalite or enough to fill it up, no more duplicants will go there. So what's happened is a bunch of obsidian and abyssalite ended up getting put into these containers up here, which is bad. It's really hot. You'll notice there that abyssalite is, okay, that stuff's only 67. Never mind, maybe I've been misreading the situation. Nope, there's obsidian. 5.2 tons of obsidian at 1400 degrees. Yep. Oh yeah, you can see that. Well, I probably should have done it that way first. That was a lot quicker. So I want to get all of that swept up and right back into this container here, and it's stored in where it's not going to boil the whole surrounding area. We are running a hot base, but we're not running it that hot. Now it's time to do the other side of the liquid tank. I like to make my tanks pretty big so I have a lot of storage space. That's why I'm doing it this way. I mean, there's plenty of magma there. This is going to pour down into this section and feed into my dripper. I'm going to probably put my, considering where that is, yeah, I'll probably put it back to fourth year. I've got a plan in place, and I think I've sketched it out sort of roughly with ghost images in the background. Then I deleted them all, and then I started building it up. But I have the picture of that, so I'm going to work off that, and I should be able to get this to fit in quite nicely with what I've already put down. I'll skip this forward a bit while we get most of this building completed. One handy thing to note about building near volcanoes, I can build that tile right there and it won't let any magma out. The magma might blip in there for a second, but there's no way for it to escape. So it's just a nice quick way of ripping out a tile and replacing it with something you would prefer to have in there. Now I seem to have gotten myself into a little bit of a predicament. To finish this, I need to dig out this tile so that the magma can flow down here into the dripper. I'm just not sure how I'm going to get that without one of my dupes getting scalded again. I mean, it should be a quick dig, right? Okay, this technically makes me a bad person. I'm sending Donny Diggo in to get scalded. Get out of there. How much damage? 3 hit points. I'll send them back to a medical bed. They'll be fine. This will not go on my permanent record, I'm pretty sure. And that gets us our magma blade. Perfect. Now I can dig this side out. And we've got room for a tank in here. Oh, I'm going to have to deconstruct some of this stuff here. You know what? I'm just going to deconstruct those two from the top. That way I should still be able to get some of this debris out of here. You know what? I'm going to take all the debris. Even if it burns a little bit, we should be able to get it all. One downside is you can't analyze. I won't be able to analyze this volcano. There's not a chance. There's a big pile of magma sitting right here, but there's too much of it to sweep. So even if I try and sweep that, there's way too much liquid. Magma is too viscous, and it just forms piles that are too big. And the mop command only works on piles of liquid below, is it 10, 20, 50 kilos? I'm not even sure at this point. There's a certain minimum amount, and yeah, you're never going to get a pile of magma at that level. Anyway, I'll just finish this off and do a little bit of tidy up. And there we go. The magma tank is complete. I even deleted the last two lattice segments here and here, so the duplicants can no longer gain access to the floor. And I swept up everything in there. I'll have to send a few dupes maybe to the med beds for, 5 minutes, but they'll be fine. This will allow the magma to stockpile. I won't be able to tell how much when it's going to happen when the dormancy phases kick in. Wait, this has a decor bonus? Decor of +10, radius 2 tiles. I had no idea volcanoes had a decor bonus. You learn something new every day. This build will allow the magma to start stockpiling because I'm going to use this for the petroleum boil later. I probably have enough that I could start running it now, but I prefer to have a bit more just to be 100% safe. I normally like to start running my petroleum boilers and not shutting them down until the time comes, or not shutting them down ever. As for the steam, this has been quite fruitful sticking in those temperature shift plates. It's slowly dragging all the steam down here and condensing it down into water. There was a lot of water turned into steam. I mean, I knew that, but now that I'm actually seeing how much it's condensing, that was a lot of steam I released. That was probably a little bit, okay, it was probably very stupid. I should not have done that. But it's slowly spreading out across the entire map, condensing and rolling all the way back down in here. It's sort of like a drip cooling, only I've cooked most of the map, or cooked a huge chunk of the map. Still worth it. Still totally worth it. There's loads of temperature left over here that it could be chilling itself on. It's just the steam has a tendency to liquefy before it gets there. Anyway, I'll have to come up with some method of speeding this along. But I think I might have to cut this out here today because, actually, no, I'm not going to cut it out here. I'm going to ignore the steam. I've had a look around and you know what? Who cares? If I build it through this area, I'll end up with some water in there, but yeah, not going to care too much. We're just going to ignore everything and keep going straight down. That was the plan, and there's no point trying to wait for the steam to do whatever it's going to do. We're playing a hot base, so let's play a hot map and see what happens. Yeah, this is fine. The steam will find a way. The only downside of this steam, the reason I didn't want to do this is if I go near that abyssalite there, or that obsidian, it's 1400 degrees, the steam would be a good enough heat transfer that it would cause my dupes problems. Uh, oh my god, look, the dirt that was down here got heated up so much it formed a dirt tile. Ah, brilliant. There's a ladder segment behind that. The dirt formed on top of it. If you heat up dirt to 136, I want to say, or if you heat up slime, that was it. If you heat up slime here to 125 degrees, it doesn't turn into a liquid. 125 degrees, where is it? Yeah, here it is, dirt. At 125 degrees, it turns into dirt, and it forms a tile. So you'll notice here that tile is just sitting there. It forms natural tiles. That's how you form natural tiles. There was a question about that in the comments from a couple of people. How do you make natural tiles? And the simplest way is usually to heat slime or algae up to about 125 degrees. It turns into dirt, and it will form a dirt tile. It won't just form, a lump of dirt on the ground. It will form an actual natural dirt tile that you can use to put plants in with pips. Very, very handy. Alright, once I've gone down here a bit more, I want to explore down to the bottom of the map. I don't think there's a contiguous oil biome on this map. I've got irregular oil, so I'm going to find bits and pieces, but I do want to see where the magma is. I've got a misaligned printing pod, so I seem to be closer to space than I am to the bottom of the map, though it seems to have put me right about bang in the center. I think I'm pretty equidistant from both sides. Anyway, we'll dig down here a bit more and we'll see what else this map has to offer. So it looks like I was wrong again. I think there might actually be a contiguous oil biome because I'm seeing a rather large oil biome down here. I think my map has an oil biome and lots of little bits of irregular oil spread about the map. I maybe should have investigated the modifiers a little bit more carefully before I started up. The reason I think that is because there is a giant pocket of oil down here. It's got that stupidly fluctuating kilograms per second thing because there's too much oil crammed into a small space. What's this one? Yep, same on the other side. So I'm pretty sure this is a... Spore childs. Oh no. Yep. I am going to... Yeah, dealing with these things is a pain. Their germs are almost impossible to kill. The only thing that kills them is chlorine. And actually, yeah, that's the only thing that kills them. I'm pretty sure they can't even... The spores can't even die in heat. Where is it? Yeah, temperature range minus 105 to 290 degrees. Yeah, that good luck trying to get that naturally to occur. Survives in coal, diamond, carbon dioxide, natural gas, sour gas, crude oil, petroleum, naphtha, methane, inhibited by gas, killed by solid liquid. No, it's not. Disinfected by bleach stone, chlorine, and chlorine. And I presume one of those chlorines is liquid chlorine. I think the best bet with these, or the best bet most people have, is you just wall in diagonally and wall the suckers off so they can't get anywhere, and you kill and destroy any gas or anything that's been exposed to them. They are extremely toxic. They can get into your crude oil, and then even if that crude oil ends up getting burned in a petroleum generator, your polluted water out of it will have spore germs in it. Well, that's what I've been advised. Haven't seen it myself. I just don't want to take that risk. It sounds horrifying. Oh, and for one extra bit of joy, this oil biome up here, yeah, that oil biome actually seems to be part of the main oil biome down here. So I'm dumping water into the main oil biome. Whatever, whatever. Oh, and it's too hot down here for the water to solidify. Well, no. Why is it so hot over there? Oh, this is heated up. I think this has been just some broken abyssalite or something over here exposing it to this obsidian, or there's another volcano over here maybe. Oh, there we go. Yep, that's what's going on. That's injecting heat in there. I should probably get over there pretty quickly and cap that off just to stop this oil biome getting any more melty. And meltiness averted. Yeah, there's two more volcanoes. It turns the leak. There's a leak there. Was there another leak? No. There was just this leak out here, and all of the igneous rock in there has solidified quite nicely. That should stop most of it leaking out. You know what? Let's double layer that. I want to be really, really safe. I've already got enough heat all the way out on the map. Okay, I think it's time to start demolishing stuff. I really want all these resources. I don't want to let those poke shells out because the moment they drop an egg, they're going to get angry, and I prefer to leave them up there. My dupes can get in and out and pick up any eggshells and molts they leave behind, so yeah, this should be fine. I think I'm just going to demolish the whole oil biome and let this salt water flow in there. Any salt water, steam water, I'm not going to care. Normally I like to keep everything separate, but well, yeah, that's not going to happen this round. This may have been one of my follies, but I will live with it. So, to the oil biome we go, and I need lots more. Ooh, I've just been thinking, there's lots of iron ore down here, which I really need. I only have, what, I've got 2 tons of iron ore, and I have 199, 1,995 kilos of lime, which I can turn into about 19 tons of steel, almost 20 tons of steel. So I have 20 tons of steel worth of lime there. All I need is 20 tons of iron ore to make it into steel. As well as that, I should have a whole ridiculous amount of fossil. That I can turn into almost 3 tons of lime. Yeah, that's yeah. You get 5% of the fossil will turn into lime. So I've almost got 3 tons of lime there, which is another 30 tons of steel, and that doesn't even take into account all the rest of the fossil that's down here. I can swim in steel if I play my cards right. All I have to do is get through here and demolish this whole area. Yeah, enough talk. Let's demolish. Ah, yes, the joys of four different types of liquids trying to exist in the same area. The game physics are going to go a little bit crazy. Oh God, that is just okay. This is extremely messy. I know. I would rather not be doing this, but I want to play the game faster rather than slower. I really do want to actually finish this map out. There's so many good maps I want to try as well. So yeah, finishing this and maybe trying Badlands or Arido, Arido, whatever. There's other maps I want to try, so I want to try and smash through this. And waiting around for all the steam to solidify was just not an option. Anyway, more digging. So I'm just digging a big trench all the way along the bottom here just to gain access to everything and see what's in here. But I really do need to take care of this spore child before it becomes more and more of an issue. So I'm just going to dig it up diagonally to stop it off emitting all those germs, because those germs are just going to keep spreading and spreading no matter what you do. They don't die. Here's some of it on carbon dioxide. Half-life infinity cycles. Yeah, that's how long it lasts. Forever and ever and ever. Why am I making that out of sandstone? That is the dumbest thing I've done in a while. And there we go. So it'll stop producing more. I will need to dig in diagonally and wall in this entire section just to destroy all the gases. Another choice is, well, you'd make a liquid lock, you'd then have to go in and pump out all the gas, dump it through a chlorine filter. Too much effort. You're better off just destroying everything in there and leaving and getting rid of everything that way. Well, that's going to be the plan. That will happen off screen. And edge of the map. And a whole bunch more iron ore. I've managed to acquire 17 tons of iron ore, so I can finally make more steel. In fact, I still don't have enough iron ore to make all the steel I need. As in, I have more lime than I have iron ore to make steel. But I'm sure we can fix that. Oh, I forgot about these. First time I encountered one of these, I just demolished it, as in I just did a deconstruct command across it. But it glitched out, and I was unable to enter this space here, the security door. They made this as a little puzzle for you. What they want you to do is flick the switches to open the door. And here you can see all the automation they made to make it nice and complicated for you. Simplest thing to realize, this is a NOT gate. So just that one needs to stay the way it is, which is currently sending an on signal. All the rest of these are AND gates. So you want to turn on everything that's hooked up to these and just leave anything that's hooked up to this off. So this one's hooked up to this switch. It's also hooked up to this switch, and it's also hooked up to this switch. Those three in a sort of a pyramid shape. So long as I flick the other three switches, the door should open. Theoretically. And there we go. That opens the door, and now I should be able to deconstruct all of this piece of junk without having to worry. Oh, also I filled that whole area up with oil. That was probably not a good idea. I wanted to keep that oil somewhere better. Maybe I should dig a liquid tank down here for it. This is my weak sauce attempt at an oil tank, which didn't work out very well because, well, everything's full of gases. There is gases or liquids everywhere. I dug all the way across the map, got all the way over to the edge. I forgot how far that was going to be. There's also a caustic biome up here. I can get more iron ore in. I've finally got my hands on just about enough iron ore, in my opinion. Actually, not quite enough. I also found a second spore child plant, which I immediately diagonally deconstructed. I'm going to have to be very careful to wall those in later, otherwise those things will get everywhere, and they really are quite unpleasant for your duplicants to deal with. Now, I think I'll cut this out here because, yeah, I think next up I'll do the petroleum boiler. I've got a whole bunch of oil down here all of a sudden that I really want to feed into a petroleum boiler somewhere. So I think next episode is going to be putting this in. We've got just about enough magma to start, I'd say. Yeah, we got plenty of magma in there. And I'm pretty sure that's still erupting for the regular activity period requires an analysis. Oh yeah, I never analyzed it. And the reason I don't care about analyzing this is the design I'm going to use will work on any large volcano. Large volcano of any sort should be able to run. It's efficient enough to work on any of them. Anyway, didn't get as much done as I would have liked, but we got in the magma tank, the start of the petroleum boiler, and an awful, awful, awful lot of digging down in the oil biome. Actually, I should slow this down about now. That should tide us over. Anyway, I hope this was at least mildly entertaining, me struggling around this map and trying to deal with an enormous cloud of steam. And good luck.